boarded the plane when she noticed something bizarre. Long-haul flights are usually full, but at the moment, only she and her daughter were on board, and her daughter had been silent since she boarded. An inexplicable uneasiness came over her. Luckily, a few moments later, passengers were boarding the plane one by one. Ellie didn't notice anything unusual, so she felt a little more at ease. This is a 10-hour long-haul flight. Shortly after takeoff, people were falling asleep. Ellie noticed 2 rows of empty seats in the rear cabin, so she took her daughter there to lie down. And weird things start to happen from this moment on. When she woke up from a nap, she realized that her daughter was gone. At this time, Ellie did not realize the seriousness of the problem. She just thought her daughter was playing and ran off somewhere. But when she searched all 3 passenger cabin of the plane and couldn't find her daughter, Ellie finally panicked. One of the flight attendants, after understanding her situation, on the radio, tell all passengers to look out for a blonde girl about 6 years old. But here's the weird thing, a long time has passed without any news. Even the passenger in front of Ellie said she hadn't noticed Ellie had her daughter with her. Ellie was in a trance. She bustled back to her seat to check. The bear that her daughter had been carrying was right there. This proves that her memory is fine. She hurriedly asked the crew to do a full search of the aircraft, but the crew didn't think so, because no one can leave a sealed cabin at 3,000 meters. Then they said perfunctorily that they'd report it to the captain, but until 10 minutes had passed, the crew did not do any search. Suddenly, Ellie noticed 2 stewardesses muttering something in a panic. She rushed after them, asking if something had happened to her daughter, but the stewardess who hung up the phone said,
Miss Pratt, I'm sorry, but I don't think that she's here. What?
The flight attendant contacted the ground crew. They did not investigate her daughter's boarding record. Her daughter's name wasn't on the passenger list. Ellie thought it was ridiculous. She hurriedly pulled out her boarding certificate to prove it, but the only boarding pass in her pocket was her own. Ellie instantly became more anxious. She rushed to open the baggage hold. She found her daughter's backpack missing, but daughter can't reach this height, so someone must have taken her. Ellie panicked immediately. She needed to talk to the captain. Then she went straight to the cockpit, but as she frantically rapped on the hatch, she was suddenly stopped by the air marshal behind her. Her behavior had seriously affected the other passengers, but she made so much noise that she alerted the captain. But all he did was ask Ellie if she'd been drinking or taking any drugs before she boarded the plane, and he obviously thought she was hallucinating. And Ellie replied with little confidence that she was on some anti-anxiety medication. Then she explained that her husband had fallen to his death 6 days earlier. That's when she started taking her medication. The purpose of the flight was to bring her husband's body back home for burial. His coffin was in the cargo hold of the plane. Then she got anxious. She made sure her daughter was on the plane with her. Ellie even held her hand before she fell asleep. This is definitely not a hallucination. Her anxious look brought out some sympathy in the captain. Even though everyone said they hadn't seen the girl, he also decided to tell all passengers to return to their seats, to check every place where a child could hide. But this time, they checked every corner of the cabin, including the baggage compartment and the bathroom. Even the cargo and equipment compartments still haven't found any sign of her daughter. The